please.
All right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board meeting to order for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. The time is 6:07 p.m. I guess I need to do a roll call. Let me just ask for those members when I state your name to just say present. So Rachel, Sarah, you're muted.
Here, yep.
Damon Turner.
I'm here.
Sarah Farhado.
I'm here.
And Rick, I guess you're
I'm
Just-
kind of here. I'm going to say I'm here, but I'm not a voting member.
Rick is here with his standing due to the questionable need for repeating his oath of office outstanding.
No editorial comments on that.
Okay. We have some guests present. Mindy Bernstein, Joseph Mayer, who is with you.
Present.
And you have a guest with you and on screen?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Peter Zarella. He's actually the owner's contractor and architect.
Very good. And we also have Kelsey Montgomery present.
Yes.
And your guest?
Yes, I am an architect and I guess representing one of the projects.
Very good. Okay,
The courtesy review.
thank you.
Oh.
With that, the chair will accept approval of the legal action report and minutes of November 21st, 2023. Do we have a motion?
This is Damon. I motion to approve them as written.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Rachel, Sarah, I second.
Very good. We have a motion, second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Let's do a roll call. Rachel,
Aye.
Damon,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Jim Glock approves. Rick, sorry.
No, I can't vote tonight. So
Very good. So
you
we'll
got a quarter. You're good.
Very good. Minutes approved. A call to the audience. Anyone, now is the time for anyone to present any issues they might have to the board that is not listed on the agenda.
We did not receive any.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, reviews. Item 4A, TP-PRE-1123-00375, 612 East 5th Street. This is a replacement of windows and doors, a restuccoing of interior, replacement of roof. And I believe, Kelsey, is this your item?
Yes.
If I may, man, this is actually a courtesy review. Just
Okay,
for the
this is
record.
right. For the record, this is a courtesy review. My agenda
it's-
reflects. Thank you.
And it's a non-contributing resource. Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. I understand.
All right, Kelsey, you're on.
Alrighty. Okay, so my clients at 612 East 5th Street would like to convert their very unconventional building for this neighborhood on their unconventionally shaped lot, as far as I can tell. They have an RV garage attached to a 2-car single height garage at the back of their property, and they would like to convert the RV garage into an ADU. And their wishes also included a separate bedroom area that would be essentially a loft area. But to achieve code height for that to be an occupiable space, the roof needs to be modified to make it a little higher. So we're proposing,
Sarah, or sorry, Kelsey, sorry to interrupt. You can share your screen.
oh, I
Right.
can, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that would be very helpful, huh? All of a sudden, there are way more, okay, things at the bottom for this meeting. Let's see.
Hey Kelsey, while you're pulling that up, can
Yeah.
you tell me what the height of the current building is?
13 feet.
Okay. And what are you proposing to raise it to?
Let me get this up. So it would be a gable roof. Let me see here. All of a sudden, this is not the window sharing that I'm used to. Just a second, let me pick all the windows. Oh, okay. All right.
Kelsey, I can help you if you want here.
Oh, that's okay. I think this'll work. I was just not finding a way to share my whole other desktop, like my whole other screen, but I mean, I can do one window at a time, and that probably works fine too. We can start with the, well, we can look at the elevations here. And then we can go back to the site plan if we need to. So, or let's see. Let me look. I was trying to find how I can share my whole other screen, which I'm used to seeing, but it didn't seem like it was jumping out at me. Any suggestions on that?
I think I can do it if I can have screen share capabilities, which would mean you'd have to get out of it, Kelsey.
Oh, get out of the screen share. Okay, because let me just. Yeah, and okay. Yeah, I don't see.
Well, let me give it a try. We'll see.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, sure, then that's fine too.
Is this not what you wanted to show? I can show the other.
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
do-
actually,
if-
why don't we can just go back and I can flip between them. I was just hoping to share my entire screen so I could just flip between things, but it's just gonna go kind of one at a time, and that's okay. But yeah, let's flip back so I can I'll just control it.
Oh, so you want me to leave?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. If I appreciate you doing this.
Got it.
But I'll probably just try to work with it on my end. Okay. I'll just start. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So I can see what I'm sharing. We'll start with the site plan. Are you able to see the whole? Are you able to see this okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got, I'm just using the aerial photograph for illustration purposes, and their lot is shaped like a T, where what is typically an alley is actually part of their property here with a lot. And the RV garage, which is tall and narrow, is up against the south property line here. And then there's a single height 2-car garage next to it. And that's that's the structure we're looking at here. And they'd like to, and the RV garage is the part they'd like to convert to an ADU. Let's go over this here. So they're right now to the east. To the east here right now is what, so the previous owner built this house and they bought it. So I'm not sure that they've made the same use out of the property the previous owner did, but the owner there's a garden bed on the east side up against Jacobus Avenue. And it's just a long, skinny yard area right now. On the west side is the driveway to access the garages, with the garage door for the RV garage facing that direct drive. And boy, it's tight getting over there. So the single car garage, yeah, it's interesting. But so that's the area that they're talking about back there, and it's currently a 0 lot line with the properties spanning between the two properties to the south. I'm going to switch to another drawing now. Do this quickly. And here I went along each street and took photos of the views around. There's the front of the house. And then along the top here are the views from Jacobus Avenue. It's they have a yard wall there, and you can see the side of the tall stucco RV garage. And the street view from 2nd Avenue, they have their garage door up. This is where they park because it's hard to get into the other one right now. So they just pull straight in here most often, although it is, or they just turn the corner and park in the other one. This is the view from 2nd Avenue here. Along their narrow driveway. You can see a little bit into the yards. I'm using my zooming capability here. You can see a little into the neighbors' yards on each of these along 2nd Avenue. There's the backyard of the house that's next door to the main house, and then the front yard of a house to the south. Same kind of thing on Jacobus. Just go to the elevations really quick. And we can revisit any of this, or you might all have this pulled up on your screen, I'm not sure. All right, so our proposed elevations are to extend the gable, and the gable end is at the 2nd Avenue side, facing the school. That's along 2nd Avenue, adjacent to the school. Within the existing garage door opening, putting 4 windows, 3 across the bottom and 1 in the middle on the top into the loft bedroom, and then making a gable roof just to achieve the code height for the for an occupiable space above. And then in extending, lifting a dormer to accommodate space at the top of a stair along one side of the interior, which is, you can see in the north elevation, the dormer, and then the gable roof extending. We left part of it as parapet, expecting that would be, keeping some of the existing structure and a less expensive option. I think the owners would like to extend the gable all the way across aesthetically, if since we were needing to raise the interior ceiling height at first. Yeah, so the reason we chose the gable was looking around at the patterns of the neighborhood and the historic district document, trying to choose. I mean, well, our options honestly are limited. We're looking at like a shed roof or a gable roof, and we're trying to be sensitive if we need to do this in the first place. And so the east elevation facing Jacobus could potentially have the same parapet roof, but openings, a door looking out to that side with as kind of as the front door to that, as the main door to the ADU, since the other side is the driveway of the main house. And then there will be a gate, because this will be used for family and their visitors, a gate from the yard of the main house. So that elevation right now, we're not proposing to extend the gable, but could potentially, and would like to get your feedback on that, along with everything else. And there's a little kind of cover over the new front door to protect the opening, and also kind of shield it from the house next door, while still, providing opening protection, and also not, we're very close to a lot of property lines right there. So I'm also trying to be cognizant of all the just zoning regulations and fire code setback minimum things. But it's a very unique situation, and I'll show the I'll just switch.
Wait, before you leave this view,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a question. So when you're saying you want to extend the gable, are you talking about extending it like this?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I was unclear if you were talking, or maybe you were saying this would also be a gable, but that's not the case. It's just extending it
Oh,
over
yeah.
the RV part.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Just extending it across that RV garage structure.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I feel like it's embarrassing that I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. You can draw that rectangle. I don't meet over Zoom like often enough too. I just like, I go to people's houses a lot.
Zoom is how I meet with my employees, so I've learned all kinds of tricks. But
yeah.
I'm sure there's still more I could learn.
No, I mean, this is, I don't know. That's so funny. But so funny that I don't know that, and I'll just remark about it and embarrass myself. But I'll just switch to the floor plan really quick so that give you another level to connect the dots here. All right, so here is the top is like the first floor, essentially a little living area, a table, and then a kitchen and bathroom that would be under the essentially 12 foot by 12 foot loft area inside. And the loft area is above this part here, so you can see my cursor, which I think you can. And the stair coming up, and then, but the gable extending over the stair, to the end of the stair and over the dining area. Since the gable is necessary at the top of the stair to allow headroom. I got together with the owner and they were hoping it could, anyway, they were wanting it to extend all the way to the east as far as it could to have windows in the dormer structure that's being created to allow north light in, because so we're not having any windows or openings in the south side and of the structure at all for all sorts of code reasons and just livability reasons, and trying to shield the neighbor here from the places that would be occupied, and things, the windows they'll be looking out of often. There is just one egress window in the loft bedroom. Another thing I just wanted to mention is that right now, the roof, the flat roof on the RV garage drains directly onto the properties to the south, which I think, regardless of what happens, the owners would like to, and I don't know, that will be a main point of making this better, is not draining directly onto the neighbor's property, which I don't know, that just sticks out to me as this is something that probably isn't so pathetic, but yeah, that's about, hopefully that's a good overview of what we're attempting to accomplish. Let me know if you want me to switch back to something.
Can you go back to the elevations?
Yeah. Okay.
So what are the proposed doors that are shown? Are they French doors?
Yeah, those are French doors with glass.
Okay, and then all of the windows, are they, are any of them operable?
Yes. So probably, I mean, at least one of the three on the bottom will be operable into that bathroom. And then the upper floor windows and egress windows that would need to be operable.
So do you anticipate them being like casements or?
Probably. I'm not. So they would likely be casements or awnings. The one for the loft is sized to be a casement. I was anticipating maybe the one for the bathroom down below being an awning window.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, I probably a case. Well, yeah, sorry. I don't know why I just said that. Yes, the second floor one would be a casement window because that's what allows that shape to be an egress window. Down below in the bathroom, at least one of those would be operable, and they'd probably all have obscured glass, and one would probably be an awning window.
Okay.
And then the windows in the dormer, which don't face other, would not be operable. Likely. I mean, unless it would be nice if they were, but I'm not sure that is in what the owners, I'm not sure.
Kelsey, can you comment on material for windows and doors?
Oh, I'm not, we didn't get a lot into that. I mean, I think we'd be open to, we didn't get a lot into talking about level of detail. I mean, I think we'd be open to, I don't remember if I was reading about any requirements for that. So,
Okay.
yeah, let me know your, like, yeah, let me know if I'm, yeah, need to know
I
more
think that,
information about
yeah,
that.
we can try to give you some guidance. So I think, well, I don't know. I'm looking at our design guides right now as I'm talking. I think we would try to encourage wood windows. We allow, on a case by case basis, the metal clad wood windows that do a little bit better in this climate. So they make wood windows, where there's some aluminum clad to the metal,
Oh,
or I'm
yes,
sorry,
right, yeah.
to the wood as
Yeah, I
basically a
think,
good.
yeah.
So we would allow those. We would also allow steel windows in theory, but I think that tries to guide people more towards like the divided glass styles steel windows, although some people have used it for windows that look like this as well.
Mhm.
But I think your best bet would probably be the clad wood windows. And I think typically like what fits in the neighborhood would be double hung or casement. The awning windows are kind of like casement windows as far as I see it. So I don't remember a time that somebody proposed those, but I don't think it completely offends me. I would encourage you to stay away from like aluminum or vinyl windows. Those are the kinds of things we don't approve normally.
Okay. And,
And
oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh, this is just for my information. I haven't been through this process before. Or, in a historic neighborhood, this particular thing. Does it differ between whether, so this is applied over all contributing and non-contributing properties, correct?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
it is a little bit confusing. And yeah, even though this is non-contributing, the same design guidance
Got it.
is used.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
That was
just have
my-
more. So what it comes down to with contributing versus non-contributing, like Damien was saying, it's like you have more freedom in the changes you can make to a non-contributing factor or building,
Mhm.
like changing door and opening locations and things like that, or something we typically wouldn't allow on a contributing factor because that's what makes that historic piece of property kind of special in its way. And so as this is a non-contributing building, changing around all the doors and windows and all that isn't a big deal. But it still needs to follow the types of windows and materials that are allowed within the neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah, I got it.
Does that clarify it at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that, right, yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
This
And
is
then
a very
just-
odd building.
yeah, it is a very weird little lot you're playing with here. So back to extending that gable,
Mhm.
I think it would be better, just aesthetically and would kind of fit in a little bit better, but I know you're just looking for a little bit of guidance on that, and that would be my opinion if anyone else wants to chime in.
I'm sorry,
I
Rachel.
agree.
So you're saying you'd like to see the gable extended?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is there's nothing in our guidance that makes the gabled roof bad. In fact, I think you could argue it makes it better. It
Makes
probably
it
fits
better.
in the neighborhood better
yeah,
as a gabled roof.
yeah, it's really just an opinion at this is what I'm saying is my opinion because it's not really anything in the guidelines to say you can or can't do either way. I just like it better with the gable.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that potentially could be discussed is the height. There is, I think, some guidance on height of accessory structures, although I'll admit I can't remember what it is. But I think we're given some judgment on that. And honestly, my opinion is just given the sort of oddness of this lot that I don't think anything you're doing with height of the accessory structure is bad in any way. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody else. wants
I tend to
chime in.
agree, and really, there's nothing about what is being proposed here that where height would dominate the front building, even though I know that's not a contributing building either. I mean, you're not going to see any of this from hardly any angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, right, what I was going on with, just, just saying what I was remembering from, I think I was reading that, and this is tall anyway, but it needs to be, yeah, I can't exceed the height of the main structure. Obviously, that was all I saw. So if there's something more that anyone finds, let me know, because yeah, I'd like to know all the stuff. As I was reading through, I saw that, and I'm personally making particular effort not to increase the height along the wall height along the property to the south. Although, I mean, that's shown there, but trying to alter the building in a way that doesn't get any higher
Yeah.
than it is, having the detail meet the side there. That was our attempt to, even though the gable gets higher, a lot higher, it seems, to try to minimize the impact to the south. That was our attempt.
Yeah,
Well,
That
and
makes sense.
I'm
there's
reading.
like different ways of measuring wall heights based on zoning. If you're an architect, you deal with this all the time where it's, measured from a gable wall, measured from an eave, measured from the mid pitch of the gable. So like technically along the south, you haven't changed the height of the wall at all. It's just that west and east where it goes up now to the mid of the pitch. So, but then it's a different lens that you look at it for historic review where we're just looking at the overall height. So I understand
Yeah, right.
trying to navigate all these different little codes and caveats is a fun task.
I bet.
So yeah,
So
I think extending the dormer would be good.
Extending the gable, you mean?
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There was one other thing I was going to bring up, which I hesitate to bring up a little bit, but I'll just bring it up for discussion. I think there is, I mean, how do I say this? There's some of the windows that have a little bit more of a horizontal orientation. And I think our design guidance tends to try to drive you to have more of like a vertical orientation because it tends to be more compatible with the neighborhood. The three windows in the dormer and the one window over the front door that are kind of horizontally oriented, they do give it more of a modern look. And I'm bringing it up for discussion, although I want to say that my opinion is I think it actually looks pretty good. So I think we have sort of leeway on that, but I'm just bringing it up to see if anybody else wants to chime in.
We've kind of in the past had conversations about that exact same aspect ratio of windows where, especially for accessory buildings, distinguishing it in some way architecturally from everything else on the property is welcome. And I can remember this board has been okay with accessory units that have had windows, kind of like I'm looking at that dormer that are very horizontal. I think it's a good look, honestly.
Yeah, I also have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, that this one could potentially change because this is where the gable doesn't continue. So
Yeah, right.
it's
You're
probably
right.
shorter because you can't make it taller right now.
And right, if the gable's not there, we don't have the opportunity to put in a window of a different shape, like say on the other elevation, right? That would
Yeah, that's a good point.
potentially change how we're looking at
If
it.
the
Also-
gable extended, it could potentially change, but I don't have a problem with the horizontal aspect either.
although the other window is taking advantage of fitting in, structurally a little bit of a different way where the garage door was. So I mean, yeah, we could change that I could deviate from my fitting these windows neatly into like below the top.
I don't think
wall
it's,
that we'd add onto or something like, yeah,
I
yes.
don't think
that
it's
could change.
necessary, but we're just, like they said, just discussion.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. I'm like, yes, that could change. I could deviate. No, just, yeah.
Yeah, I just bring it up because we should try to be consistent. And I agree with what you said, Rick. There is the guidance that says give window openings vertical emphasis in our design guideline. And honestly, we should consider changing it. Or maybe saying like for accessory structures, non-contributing, you know,
Yeah.
different aspect ratios will be considered on a case by case basis or something.
Yeah.
Just because I agree that
Note of that.
since like in your tenure, we've kind of changed a little bit how we were doing that. And I kind of like this guidance better because I do think that more modern structures, it is nice when they have a little bit of differentiation, but a little bit goes against our guidance. And that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, I made a note, Damon, on the, maybe looking at the guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what were the porch materials? Like the posts and stuff?
So it's a wing wall sort of thing there. And again, I think right now it was just envisioned as stucco probably, but I think that could be, yeah, I think overall we pretty much discussed form in this and didn't get a lot. I mean, so this will be a primarily stucco building because it already is. And then we discussed some wood, little wood outriggers supporting that little bit of overhang that we have in the gable on the west side. But beyond that, we didn't talk about a lot of those things. So yeah, I'm open to more suggestions on that for the porch part. I mean, I think well, really quick, the roof of that would be pretty much probably exposed wood sort of looking thing. The vertical part that goes down to the ground, I'm not sure exactly what that would be. I think, yeah. Sorry.
No, I was just
give
curious.
any more
You
new
don't need to have all the
information.
answers yet. I was just curious.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't
No,
worry.
yeah, I have to say that anyway, I was just going for form to see how this kind of went and exploring materials a little bit more as I learned more about the neighborhood requirements.
I mean, even on the roof of that porch, I'd be open for discussion, but corrugated steel would be fine with me.
I agree. Honestly, I think anything that's turning an RV garage into a habitable space is great.
That's a good idea.
So.
For the record, when this house was for sale, I tried to convince my wife we should buy it strictly because it had an RV garage.
You wouldn't have to get it approved.
Exactly. Because honestly, what's there now probably might not have gotten approved by us. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Right. And
Yeah.
I know the previous owner, and it's this property is like her personality.
All right. Well, do you have any other questions, Kelsey, for us?
No, I think this is pretty good. So I was gonna say I'll discuss that, especially on the opposite, the east side gable end, if we extending, as long as everyone's cool with extending the roof.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them about reorienting that window, because they might really like having that option. But the ones on the dormer, I will say that that is partly to maintain structural integrity and just include those above the existing top plate of the structure. So
Yeah, I
now
will.
we might try to keep those though.
I don't think we have a problem with those
Yeah,
though.
honestly,
Kelsey.
I don't think you really need to switch either one of them.
Okay.
Like fitting into the structure that's there, I think is really responsible. Also just that west bedroom window is gonna be really brutal, so you might consider like a little eyebrow or something above that window. All the east doors are gonna be protected fairly well because they have a little
Mhm.
overhang. So honestly, making that east window taller is gonna be just it's gonna be a lot of heat coming in. And that
Mhm.
west bedroom window is gonna have a lot of heat coming in, so I would consider maybe adding something over that bedroom window,
Okay. Yeah, that would
to give it
that
a
would,
little bit of shade.
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah. Good.
I've just had to go back on a lot of historic houses and help try to fix that problem later, so.
No, yes, I totally agree. This falls under the, well, can we do any? Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Yes,
so that would just be my own advice I end up dealing with a lot later on, so,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Oh my goodness, right, yep. And they can't plant a tree there, so. In the driveway.
Right,
so,
it's a driveway.
Okay. Any board have any other suggestions, advice, wisdom to offer? Well, Kelsey, we look forward to, I guess, you're coming back with the
Okay.
final plans, but I think that should be smooth sailing based on
It's all on.
commentary from the experts on the board. Without objection, then we'll move on.
And I think is it okay if I leave the meeting now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know if we were
Thank you.
meeting in person, I wouldn't be, but I didn't know I might.
If we were
Thank you,
meeting in
Kelsey.
person, we'd still be okay with you leaving.
Okay.
You're-
But you better to step away and have dinner with the family now, if that's okay.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Permission granted.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
Right, very good. Let's move on then to item 4B. SD-1223-00144, 945 North Fifth Avenue, renovation of a garage to a hobby/guest room. This is a full review. The property is a continuing resource. Help me, Jody, is the garage itself contributing?
The main house is a contributing resource.
Okay,
Hence
thank you.
Hence the listing.
Right. All right, Mindy, who's taking the lead for it?
Hey,
All right, this is Pete Zarilla. I'm the designer. I've been working with Mindy on this project for a while. And,
Pete, excuse me just a minute. Jim, I was supposed to share my screen so you could see their project because they're not able to do that. But I lost my Wi-Fi connection at home, so I'm doing this on my phone. Could one of you share your screen for them?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, and I'll get it up shortly.
While he's doing that, Pete, can you spell your last name for me?
Sure. Zorilla, or
Thank you.
easy as gorilla with a Z.
Got it.
Pete, can you let me know what you would like to show first? The material available is what was submitted, elevations, property
Well,
photos.
What I'd like,
aerial,
okay.
photo of
I'd like to
existing-
start with the pictures of the existing structure so you know what we're starting with.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay,
And,
stand by.
And then we'll know that it can only get better.
That's very true. There's only one way to
Yeah.
go with this.
So
As you can see,
let's-
it's
I'm prepared to scroll to the next picture on your direction. So just let me know.
okay. Thank you. First picture shows the facade that faces to the street to the north and is the major elevation of the project. And as you can see, it's in dire straits. If you go to the next picture, I believe it will show you the interior situation, which is collapsing and kind of in a dangerous situation currently. And the owner obviously is very concerned that it may tip over at any time. The front of the structure is actually leaning forward toward where she was standing. Okay. What our intent is to do is to remove from your bond beam, if you, which is like the top of the garage door, around the perimeter, and rebuild revitalize the existing structure up with like materials, and put the roof, which would be a truss roof, on top of the new structure. Okay. The height would be identical to what's existing, with the exception of the south wall of the project. It's not exactly on the property line, but it's about 1.5 feet to maybe 2 feet off. And code requires us to have a firewall there, which we would make, which would be about 16 inches higher than the existing roof. The height of the existing building is approximately 14 feet, which is the ridge line. We would be 6 to 8 inches when we're done with stucco on just the back wall, which is the adjacent property. Okay, to the adjacent property. The gable roof system would be identical to what was there at the original time the property was, the project was built. What we'd like to do, let's see, is if you want to go to, Jim, if you want to go to my elevations now on the plans.
Right, stand by. Oh, shoot. I think.
Thanks for your help, Jim.
Yep, hang on. I'm battling things here. Or can I move this? There we go. Okay.
Listen, I have to learn how to do that.
Oh, wrong thing.
But that's the dissertation.
There you go.
Getting
Getting
there.
close.
Yeah, getting close.
Wanted an elevation? Sorry.
Elevations, yeah, that's all on one sheet. So
There we go.
That goes out
There we go. And
here. Floor plan.
bandwidth headache going on here. Hang on. Is this?
no. Okay.
Bandwidth.
So if you look at the top left elevation, that's the proposed elevation. And what we're trying to do is, Mindy really likes the style of her bungalow style architecture on the main residence. So what we're trying to do is kind of incorporate into this elevation the column designs and the window details and the gable roof system, obviously, which is on the main residence. There's lava stone rocks for your stem wall, and she'd like to incorporate that in a fashion on the columns a little bit, and also kind of give it a little architectural feature around the, like a wainscot on the front of the building and around the sides a little bit, as you can see on the elevations. We're using double hung windows, which is same as on the main house, and wood doors, which she she hasn't quite selected, but they would be inside the parameters of the design criteria. Probably what we have on the elevations, she's kind of indicated she likes. Okay. The gable roof will be extended forward roughly 6 feet for the patio. Okay. And that's our only addition per se to this garage, other than the renovation of the existing materials going higher and being replaced, and providing stucco on the outside, which is kind of a haphazard stucco. Each side has a little bit different texture. So we're going to try to utilize a heavy sand finish, which would kind of complete the structure in a uniform finish. Let's see, what else would I say? The door on the left, on the adjacent little unit that you see on the left there, is existing and is brick and will remain as is. We will be cutting in a door, which I'll show you on the plans later, for as the guest house. That might be the guest room or end up being additional storage. Mindy has a number of hobbies, which she can tell you about that. So that's the reason for most of the stuff, the sinks, the countertops, cabinetry and stuff for storage. And of course, being an outbuilding, she would like to have a bathroom in there that she can utilize to get cleaned up and stuff like that. The side of the building, or the west elevation, is we would be cutting in a new door, and where the kitchen window, so to speak, would be. If you want to go there, Jim, that's fine.
Where am I going then?
Well, yeah, either one, I can describe it. You'll see that there's glass block at the sink area. Okay, which shows on the west elevation. Okay, on the east elevation, we're filling in where there was, we're not sure what it was. There's an opening there that's up relatively high. And again, for security, she'd like to put glass block. Okay, so that's what we're doing on both sides. The roof situation is a shingle. We are able to match the tile that's on, or the shingles that are on the existing roof on the east side. They're still available. So Mindy's intent here, and our intent here, is to basically try to make this project look not exactly similar, but provide a cohesive look from the street, that these units were kind of made to be together and built relatively at the same time. The house was built in, I believe, 1910. We're not sure what the date is of this garage. I kind of refer to it as a carriage house. It might have been a carriage house at one time. We're not sure. So that's kind of it. The south wall, of course, has to be solid masonry all the way up for the fire code. I think that kind of covers it. I don't think there's anything else right now, just whatever questions you may have. Thank you.
Can you talk about the glass block a little bit more? Like what, is it like actual glass block, or is it like the plastic?
No, it'd be glass block, real glass block.
Okay. Do you have a picture of that potentially, or?
Yeah, we could get that, yeah.
Is there a reason you wouldn't just use a divided glass window?
It was just something we discussed. We didn't really go to that point. I know they do make the fake glass windows, and she just liked the security factor, I guess. she's had a number of transients, unfortunately, that have hopped her walls. So there's a security issue. That the other reason is with this situation, with this structure as it is, there's a concern that somebody might go in there, hit something, knock something, and it comes down. It is in bad shape. Trust me, as a contractor, it should have been demoed a while ago. And I believe her husband, unfortunately, is deceased. And I think he did at one point obtain a demo permit, but never got to it.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can speak for everybody on the board that rehabilitating this is urgent and a good idea. What Rachel's bringing up and Damon too is, have you explored other options? We typically don't see glass block as something that is used in the neighborhood.
Okay.
If it's security from a privacy point of view, some kind of frosted glass in a window might be preferable. I know there's probably places around the university area where glass block has been used, but it's probably not anything that has ever been approved by this board.
Okay.
But a window's
I mean,
nice.
I have to say myself, I'm not really opposed to glass block as long as it's like the actual glass and not those like, 80s wonders that were in all the bathtubs. But like the real solid pieces of glass can be really beautiful. I just would want to see a sample and exactly sort of what the intention is.
Right. Okay, yeah, because most of the block is like 7 inches wide, the glass block. Her walls are over 9 inches right now before we do any stucco or anything like that. So, Mindy,
Yeah.
You've heard the comments. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think I was leaning towards glass block because it's structurally very sound. And it also provides light and privacy, and security. If
Yeah.
I'm
Wait.
flexible, specifically also when we have the window over the sink that's glass block. I certainly can live with doing a double hung window there instead, or two. But my preference is it's the WUZEB, what you are going to accept or not accept is important. I'll do it.
I was just going to say, food for thought would be that this structure, and actually there's an elevation that's from the street that shows the building, and there's a 6-foot wall around the perimeter of the property. So you really can't see it unless you're in a 2-story building. Okay. And they're both on the sides, which are kind of covered over, are kind of blocked from anybody's view for the most part, even in a 2-story building, which there is one across the street and there is one to the west, but I don't remember right now. I don't think I have a photo of that because it wasn't considered a contributing property to the,
That has glass block.
no, it's just, I don't think it looks that direction. It's a garage and something. So, and I do not have a current picture of that because we didn't have to have it. Wish they did, but it is set back. So if you go to the site plan, that would probably be easier, or the contributing property plan.
Photos, correct?
Yeah. The house, if you look at the intersection, the house due north is 2-story, which is, what is that, 1003 or is it 1000? So,
Hang on, I'm looking for it.
1003 East First Avenue.
Stand by. Okay,
There it is. That's it.
this is the house to the north.
Yeah, and the only place that's 2 stories is that over the garage right there. Okay, which is probably, how shall I say this? Almost dead center, directly across the street, over the 6-foot wall. You would see the face of the building that we're talking about, the facade. The facade. The only other one is to the west, which I'm sorry I don't have a photo of.
All right, I'm going to go to Google Street View. Stand by.
Hey, Damon, do you have the guidelines handy in front of you?
I do.
Do we prohibit glass block?
I didn't see anywhere that we do. Let me just look one more time.
Yeah, I don't remember if we do either. We may not.
It's not on the front of it.
Yeah,
It's
I
on
know.
the sides.
I didn't.
This is the building to the west.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
Across the
And
alley.
this is then the view here. Let's go a little further north. See where it takes me.
I mean,
So
it's
this-
kind of irrelevant whether someone can see it or not.
Yeah, I think so too. And especially it's irrelevant if somebody can see it from a balcony of a 2-story building.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it can be seen, it's whether the material is allowed or not. Like I said, I guess I was Googling while you guys were looking stuff up, and I guess what I was looking for was they have like solid glass bricks, which are really beautiful. But the glass blocks where it's like made out of pieces of glass and then all that, or even pieces of plastic, are not so beautiful. So I would just really want to see a good specification on what is proposed.
Yeah, in the design guide, I don't see an explicit disallowing of glass blocks, but I'm also not aware of a precedent where we allowed it.
That's what I'm going off of.
Yeah, I do have one other thing I wanted to bring up if I can change subjects, and this can be a little bit of a touchy subject because people have different opinions on it, but I'm curious what the board thinks about the stone, the use of stone. And I think that the two opinions that you often get are it can appear to sort of be like faux historic to incorporate features like that. And then the other side of the spectrum is, well, you're sort of emulating the main house and people like that look. So I'm curious if anybody has thoughts about the stone.
I have to say, I don't love when we try to manufacture something that wasn't there. So, having it match the existing house, while I understand the appeal of that, it's sort of creating a false sense of history.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm flitting around here on you, everyone. I'm trying to get a picture of the house for you.
While
And-
Jim's doing that, are you guys, what are your thoughts on the stone? I think you talked about it a little bit and basically said you're emulating a feature that you like on the main house, but is it a must have? I tend to, I think, lean in the same direction as Rachel. It's like, it can come like there's several houses, newer houses in the neighborhood that did that have it. And it looks a little manufactured to me, to be honest. It doesn't look like the original, and it sort of, I don't know, I'll be honest and say it bothers me a little bit. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are.
Mindy, how high does the block on this column in the front go up the column?
It doesn't.
Okay,
The foundation is all a mountain,
correct.
but the columns do not have.
So your motivation to have the block go up the column is, I thought it was because that's what you had in the front house.
No, the
No, we were-
rock.
We were just
Each other.
trying to take some of the architectural finishes and tie it in with the building in the back. If I may say so, Mindy, we had discussed taking the veneer off, but we'd probably like to keep it just on the 2 columns, which is basically,
Agreed.
if you look at the elevation, I think it's only what, 24 inches or so, 30, maybe 2 foot
What I
with a
was
cap detail.
What I was thinking about was where there's a lot of brick that needs to be replaced. It needs to be repointed and replaced. And I was just feeling a bit whimsical in putting lava rock in spaces that would have been exposed brick that needed to be repaired. But I can absolutely live without putting it is not traditional to have bungalows with lava rock on the building itself. That was just whimsy on my part, and I can live without that. I would like to have the lava rock at the bottom of the pillars, but I can also live without that. You can take all the lava rock away.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what some other folks think, but one approach would be to do it, but intentionally differentiate it. So it doesn't look like you're trying to make something look older than it is. So that's a potential option that you might consider. And I'd be curious if anybody else would support that or thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, the bungalow is beautiful, and that's why we're trying to preserve them, right? And so when you start to make something that was, a carriage house that didn't have those features, like the widened based columns and things like that, it just kind of creates confusion in what was original. And I know so the garage or carriage house wasn't a contributing property, but the main house was. So it'd be kind of nice to like really keep the main house the gem that it is, and then you can still make this other building really beautiful. You don't want to take away from what's contributing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Plain Jane. It's a plain Jane.
And I believe in the guidelines, it specifically says we'd like to see things, differentiated from what's historic and what's not.
And that's why I kept the lava rock sort of on the building, because that is non-traditional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can appreciate that for sure. That makes sense.
And it contributed to my sense of whimsy.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
And I didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
I didn't appreciate that. I see now in the elevation that the way it's drawn, it's not. It was intended to, on the house part, it's not like fully covering. It's intended to just cover spots where stucco is missing or something. Okay, I didn't.
No, it was just, we were gonna kind of, with the approval of it, we were just kind of do it as a lower wainscot, just to give a little bit of a artsy craftsy look to it, because that's what Mindy likes. She's kind of she likes that kind of, and she said it best, whimsical. So it's not like it's a straight line across. We'd probably be going up and down a little bit and follow more of the natural stone look of just stacked, you might say.
The stone on the building doesn't really bother me. It's more of like the shapes of the columns make it really feel like a traditional long-standing bungalow that's not the case. So like if the columns they didn't have the taper to them, and that stone base that is something that is found consistently, that's what's, to me, creating that false sense of history that's not there. And so maybe if those columns became more simplified, and then you did do the stone on the wall, you know what I'm saying?
Well, as a contractor, making them straight is a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Mindy's online. So if she says we'll just do the straight columns down and remove the stone on the columns, it would be, that's your call, and I think that's probably a good compromise.
Does anyone else have a comment on that? I mean, I don't mean to.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you.
Yeah. Now, so then where we're leaving it is that the building itself would have this wainscot, kind of going all the way across, even though it's drawn as it's intermittent. Is the idea that it's just stone all the way up to part way up the windows?
Right.
I would
Right.
rather it be, no, I don't, I would rather just be plain stucco rather than a wainscot of lava rock.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Okay.
think we would be better off we would be more amenable to that.
Okay.
Can you zoom out a little bit, Jim, so we can see all the elevations?
Yes.
And then so
Mindy,
what's,
Mindy, you don't have this rock on site. It's not left over from something else, do you? You'd have to find it, right?
Yeah, I have some of the rocks are in my front yard, but there is a place that you can purchase lava rock.
Right.
So we're taking out the lava rock and we're building the columns straight.
Yes. Right. Correct.
Uh,
Is that
I-
acceptable
I
to
think I think that's what I would recommend
That's
as
what
well.
I would, yeah.
I
yeah,
support that as well.
yeah, I just think it makes the bungalow that has those features special. And so, find another way to make this building special. Don't compete with the main building.
I love those columns.
I know, I do too. I get why you want them. They're beautiful, but I don't want it to take away from what is the contributing property,
Behind it on the inside.
I can live without the rock, but don't take my columns. No.
Well, you could, I don't know, guys. We could, the columns don't have to necessarily be straight, but they could
Yeah,
be
I mean,
more
if you
contemporary.
removed the lava rock
Can we step
altogether,
them?
yeah,
Can we
and they were
step
just
the
tapered.
column?
Yeah, if they were just tapered like they are in the front,
Yeah.
I would be more okay with that. I just don't feel like they should be such a big thing.
When you say that, excuse me, let me understand that now. You mean the front part of it is tapered back and the other three sides are straight? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
no. So they would, I mean, when you look at the main house, when Jim had the street view pulled up for a minute, they were just stuccoed tapered columns, correct? Yeah.
Right.
So just do that.
They're a lot
Something like that,
massive.
but like maybe a smaller scale.
Yes.
Right, they will
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they're probably half the
huge.
size of that.
yeah,
Right.
I can totally live with that.
okay.
Okay, so it's no stone. That's good.
Yeah,
Those sound-
essentially what you have
Okay.
proposed, like that size, that scale looks proper for this elevation. So if you just stripped the lava rock away, I would like it better.
Okay.
I do, I didn't talk to, it's as an afterthought, I would like to put gutters on this building and harvest the water. So I can plant water, so I can use the rainwater harvesting. Would
Oops,
that
sorry.
would that be something that I would need to come back for?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say
Unscrew up.
no.
I'm
My-
going on a limb and saying no. You're talking about just gutters on the edges of the building with something going into a container.
Yeah, I think what we would like where we would want you to come back is if you were doing something on the main house and like maybe
Yeah.
there was going to be a container that obscured part of the main house or something like that. But for an accessory structure that's non-contributing, I don't think we need to weigh in on that personally.
Well, I actually would go a little bit different and say, if that's what I think we want in the minutes, that we're okay with it.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't get stuck with having to do a minor review or something like that later.
And then also I was hoping to put solar on the west side of the building.
That I
Right.
think would have to have a minor review.
And
There's
it
a lot of-
has to be separate from this review
Yeah,
because it will be like a separate permit. I just went through it in Barrio.
yeah. And there's a lot of, yeah.
Mindy, I went through it as well. And it'll get approved, but it does need to have a separate review.
I've spoken to all my neighbors about getting this building renovated. They are all very excited to see this eyesore gone. Um, Going back to the glass block, what I'm hearing is that you would prefer that they be double hung glass windows.
Double hung or casement.
Or casement
Or steel, right?
or steel. Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
because some of those windows might, given like the really weird aspect ratio on the one in the east elevation, that might lend itself to a steel window.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Damon on that.
Yeah, the west window, that's, the west is what I'm concerned about with heat.
Mhm.
Glass block is more insulating. And it's a security. So I think what I'm saying is there room for me to make a decision? Or do you need to know tonight?
I think if
Well,
you
I
can
think-
present something, we can potentially look at it, right? We've done that in the past. There's been like an email and we can say, yes, we approve that, or no, we don't.
And Mindy, what Rachel's saying to a degree is
You need to submit the material.
we don't really know what you're proposing. I
Oh.
mean, glass block is a generic term, but we'd have to actually kind of see specifically exactly what you're talking about.
You know, Mindy, I don't know if we didn't really talk about it. It's like there's a Decora line, there's a ribbed, there's different styles, and that's kind of what they're
Okay.
referring to. So
If there's,
Mindy, if I could interrupt, just for clarification, the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board makes a recommendation. So what'll come out of this is they'll make a motion with a recommendation with potential conditions. You will also have to present this project to the Plans Review Subcommittee. They will review it. They will also make a motion with potential conditions. Both of those recommendations are forwarded to the director, and the director issues the decision letter. Just so you know.
Jody, quick question. Do the plans have to be revised before the next sub meeting?
They do not. But the subcommittee or the plans review subcommittee will have an understanding of what was discussed because they'll have the minutes from West University
Okay.
and they'll have a motion and they'll know what their concerns were.
And frankly, they're going to ask the same question about the glass block.
Yeah, they will.
And Mindy, I would encourage you to look at glass brick versus glass block. It's a solid piece of glass versus the two pieces with space in between. It's gonna be a very different look to it. So
I'm-
explore your options.
I like the idea of glass brick.
Yeah, the glass brick I think is really beautiful, but myself.
The glass brick sounds beautiful to me too, and it would match. It would be closer to historic
Mhm.
shape.
Yes, and it's, yeah. And
Good.
since you're not doing a huge pieces of it, it wouldn't hopefully break the bank. That's usually the
So
issue.
if we made that change to the brick, we just email you with the spec sheet or whatever. So you can include it.
I just would say this is really bad precedent for decisions to be made offline, and would discourage. I know you guys have done it before, but I would discourage you from continuing to do it. I would recommend that if you want to see that material, you continue the project.
When you say continue, what do you mean by that, Jody?
That you are rescheduled for another meeting with the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board, where you come back with that material.
With one spec, one individual spec that can't be submitted separately.
That would be them making a decision offline and not in
Yeah.
a public forum.
That's the problem.
Well, offline, but you're the committee that makes the decisions.
Right,
There-
but we still need to see it.
But it's
Right.
a public meeting that people have the opportunity to be here, whether they show up or not.
Rachel, is there any chance right now you might be able to pop that up on a screen that Mindy could look at it?
Because I've never heard of it.
I'm- I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with it. I've never heard of it before, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of-
Do you want to stop sharing your screen, Jim?
Sure. Yep. Hang on.
And then I think Jody, you need to let me share.
Hold on, and I'll make you a co-host. Okay, you're a co-host, so you should be able to share.
Okay. So this is sort of what the glass brick can look like.
Oh, okay.
It's actually like a solid glass brick. So this is sort of the more traditional, glass block everyone sees, which I would not approve to tell you right now. Would not be allowed. But glass
Really?
brick can be a much different
It's
aesthetic.
beautiful.
Does it have an R value? Does
I
it
mean,
say
it's
on
solid
there?
glass. You'd have to go to like Acme Brick or one of these.
It actually lets light in.
Yeah, it's just solid glass versus,
in
panes
the
of
shape of a brick.
glass or plastic. Vista Brick is a good one.
Does it say the size? I can't read it. I'm sorry, it's too small on our screen. I mean, because if it's a brick, it's probably about maybe 3 to 4 inches wide.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Let me find.
Because this isn't a structural issue. This is actually, it should be okay.
Here it is. Couple of them.
Venetian glass, okay. Huh.
Oh, here we go.
Looks like a regular building material.
No, that's a brick. I lost the glass one. Hold on. I wasn't prepared to present. Hold on. I usually use, because I have a client that we're looking at doing something. This is a thinner one, but here we go. This is what
Oh, okay.
$1 each.
So this one, fire
So
rating.
it's transparent or even comes in colors? Is that what I'm seeing down
There's a
below?
couple that are colors, but there's
Okay.
not a lot of color options. So here's thermal R value 161, heat transmission. So it has all this information. Actual size 9 1/4 by 2 1/8 by 4 1/2.
So it's almost like a regular brick.
That's what it is.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Well, Mindy, what do you think?
I took a look at some I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So would you
But right now
be agreeable to make those 2 units that?
they're $28 each.
Yeah,
No.
they're pricey. I haven't had a client that's willing to commit yet, so
Well, we'll talk to Rachel about the price. She'll contribute.
yeah.
Can they,
But this is just this brand. There's other let's see. There should
I'm
be other
looking at the
brands.
same one as you are.
yeah, that's the same one, yeah. Well, you know what we could do, Mindy?
I mean, you guys can
is
come back
to-
next month.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be, to Jody's point, a continuance. And you're gonna have to pick exactly what you want, and Mindy, to your point, you're gonna have to be able to be comfortable with whatever the price point is you're looking at, and maybe compare that, as Damon said, to steel windows
And wood clad, because that's the other thing too,
and
is we need you to
wood-clad.
call out what your proposed doors and windows are now also.
Right.
If they're wood and wood steel or wood clad or what.
Yeah.
The windows in the front are wood,
Wood.
Okay.
And
because
the doors are wood.
and the
There
door,
was no clad mentioned in any of our.
It's all wood. Okay.
Yes. I
um,
mean, so far, the only thing I see that's, is the glass block. And what I was gonna recommend, Mindy, is maybe we just do one in the glass block and then go ahead and use a double hung at the kitchen window if you want. Or vice, and we could make it frosted or something like that, so it's not, you can't see through.
I might want to put, and what about, in this review, do I need to discuss putting up wrought iron?
For security.
Pardon?
You said for security,
Yeah,
yes.
security.
Windows.
You're
There
talking
are-
about
My house
security
is,
windows?
my house is on the corner.
Yeah.
And there is so much transient traffic, and people, even though I have a 6-foot wall in the back, they're still able to hop over.
So Mindy, I think, I understand that. You know, we're kind of doing a little bit of what I'll call freewheeling on some other things that I think are not bad and make sense, but it's not part of what's being presented here. And it gives the board a hard time to say, what are we actually approving? So with the windows and with the glass block and with the idea of security screen or whatever it is that you're proposing, we kind of just need to have something that we can look at that we say, yes, we agree with that or not. It's the material and the shape and that sort of thing. You know, in terms of whether it's makes sense to do it or not. I mean, I understand. I know where your place is. But we can't just approve a concept. If that makes
Understood.
sense.
Yeah, so if we do a continuance, and if that's something you want to do, have
Then
that
add it.
on the next presentation and we can approve or
Right.
deny
Same thing.
based on being
If you want
presented.
gutters, I don't have an issue with gutters, but if we're gonna do a continuance, just draw them on the drawing.
Mhm.
And that'll help with the permitting too.
Oh, good.
Well, Mindy, just to point out, you're looking at another 60 days probably out, at least.
Yeah, I thought we were down to windows and glass block.
So-
Yeah, I don't know if we have any choice though. Oh, because they're not going to approve.
Well, if we get the, if we do the continuum, you're probably 60 plus. Because it looks like, I would think, when's the next meeting if we were approved? Let's say you approved and put us to subcommittee, what would be the date of subcommittee?
Subcommittee
You
meets
know?
twice a month, I think, don't they?
Twice-
Jody?
they meet
Well,
twice.
so you would go, so the next, if you get a continuance, the next available West University meeting would be February 20th. And then you would be looking at, for the plans review subcommittee, you'd probably be looking at March 14th.
And then there's still one other phase, correct?
That's just the director.
The
No,
director.
No.
well,
after
the
that,
director's decision letter, yeah.
Right.
So after that meeting, the director's decision letter would be issued. And
And
then you,
then,
That's not
There-
another meeting.
and that's not another meeting, but that there is a 14-day appeal period. So during that appeal
Okay.
period, excuse me, sorry, during that appeal period, you could be revising your plans per the conditions of the decision letter. So it's ready to submit.
okay. So we're somewhere minimum 60 with a continuum right now,
Correct.
correct? Okay.
The glass.
So Mindy, what do you want to do?
So let me, just for clarification's sake, if the board could consider, and again, I can't make the motion because I'm chairing, we could approve the plans as presented with the recommended modifications to the column, and we could then state that the glass block is not approved, but we would approve double hung windows in their stead with simple security bars. Is that a possible motion that we could provide to keep this moving forward? Mindy could say, I don't accept that and then resubmit, but at least it would be able to move forward with clear direction so there would be no delay. Am I correct in that? Who can advise me on that? Jody?
Yeah.
Or?
You can make that motion.
I don't
Um,
know that without seeing a profile on the security bars, that's something we should.
I'd be hung up on the security bars.
Would
without
the
independent
security, if
drawing.
they just did security bars, could that be a minor review?
That could be a minor review.
Okay, so there's a path. So
They could do
we
a
don't
minor
approve.
review.
Yeah.
Sorry, they could do a minor review together. They could do it for the gutters and for the security bars.
Right.
So
Thank you, Jody. That's what I was just going to recommend.
Yeah,
Because
that would
that would-
be,
You could continue with the building situation and do that submittal during construction, correct?
Correct.
Right. Yes.
Could I add one thing to the possibility of the motion, that it would be double hung windows or glass brick?
No, because we've got to see the glass brick that you're proposing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an off nominal material that we would have to look at.
Windows it is.
and then do you want double hung or because casement is an option as well? Sorry to complicate everything.
I would probably say that you would have to do, quick question, can you do a fixed window with grills?
We just don't
Okay.
like simulated divided lights.
Okay, so it has to be a true divided light window.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mindy, so the 6020, or I forget what the size is off the top of my head, that would be a divided light window, fixed, non-operable, okay? Which is actually even more secure. And then I would do a casement at the kitchen window because it's only 3 foot wide.
What's a
Casement swings out on the right or left side, or you can do a double hung there.
the double hung?
Okay.
Okay, so again, Mindy, what we're going to, I believe, move, and again, I'm not doing the motion, is to keep this thing moving forward so we don't delay. Otherwise, you make the modifications based upon our commentary, and you have to come back showing materials and all that, and then you have to endure the delay as Jody outlined. So before we make a motion, is that your preference, is for us to keep this on schedule and to make a motion that we can accept and move it forward?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hold on, before we go forward, I want to clarify, you were talking about doing a picture window with two like this?
Without block.
I don't see it.
Instead of where the block is, where this green, I added the green lines here.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get an idea of what the lights look like, what the divisions look like that you're proposing.
Oh,
Pete,
I
is that
see.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Pete,
On the east elevation?
Yes, gotcha. Yes, yes.
And then this
correct.
one would just be a solid one here on the west.
Correct.
That would be a double
double
hung.
hung is what I heard.
So it'd be like this.
Yes.
Right. I do want to learn how Rachel does that.
It's an annotate option.
Annotate. Okay.
Yeah, anyone can do it, not just the host.
Yeah, I figured it out. It's pretty cool.
And then you can go in and draw squares instead of scribbles, and it looks way more, it's much easier.
So the east elevation will have essentially two lights,
Two
left and
fixed.
right, two fixed left and right windows, lights, and the
And then a double one on the west.
the
Okay.
west. Okay.
Who wants to handle the motion?
I'll give it a go.
Yay.
Hold on. Don't start. I'm making some notes here because I want to write down what you said. All right, Damon, go.
All right. I think I'm making a motion to propose what's been presented with the following modifications. The removal of any of the stone features and not including any of the glass block, but including a 2-light divided glass window on the east elevation made of any of the acceptable materials, which would be wood or steel. And on the west elevation, a double hung wood window.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
This is Rachel, Sarah, I second.
Yeah, we have a motion. Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I will poll the board. Damon,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and Jim approves as well. We have an approval to move this forward to Design Review Subcommittee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Everyone,
welcome.
Mindy,
Thank you, everybody.
keeping it moving.
Gotta keep it, yeah.
Thanks for everyone's time. You guys are welcome to stick around, or you're also welcome to leave the meeting. With that, I'll move on then to item 5.
We can leave.
You can leave if you want.
It gets boring.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank all of you. Thanks all of you.
All right. Moving on, staff updates. Jody, any pearls for the?
We do not have any staff updates, other than you are not the only advisory board that kind of had the fun with the city clerk's office. The city clerk's office went cleaned house for all like 50 some odd BCCs.
Oh,
So
ow.
They
Which,
should have
you know,
phased that.
it was a surprise to us. They didn't talk to us. We just kind of got the notification. We're like, wait, what? So super fun.
What
Yay.
exactly happened? They are requiring people
They
to reappointments have to retake the oath of office.
Yeah, so typically, I guess maybe that's always the case where reappointments have to take the oath of office, but they also just kind of went and said, your term is expired, you're done until you
Yeah.
go to get reappointed by the mayor's office. They've
Actually,
kind
it didn't even say that. It just said you're done.
Jeez.
they've been kind of lax before, where they're kind of letting people meld over until like there's a replacement or something along that line. But this time they were just like, you're done.
Done.
And it was pretty brutal. But other than that, you guys you're in the same boat. I don't really have any staff updates this month.
Okay, well, thank you, Jody. Any future agenda items from the board?
We will have elections on the next agenda.
Oh, that's correct. All
We're
right.
gonna do elections, and then I believe we have something in the hopper for you, but I don't have an address for it.
And we should be seeking additional members.
Well, yes. Now Betsy intends to come back. She just didn't understand what she needed to do to get, back in. So
Okay.
she's gonna get on, I mean, I don't know. I think she sent a letter to the clerk to get on the next mayor and council meeting for approval.
Also, Marcellus should be working on something for me for a minor review that I can't be part of. So he should have done it last month and he didn't, so I need to go bug him.
Okay.
Just so Jim
Good to
or
know.
somebody else is aware that I can't present that, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jim, I think at the picnic this weekend, we.
Hey, Jim?
Yep.
This is Sarah Fajardo. I will be here next month and then I'm out of the country for both March and April.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll just make it tougher to get a quorum then. But thanks for the heads up.
Well,
Yep.
hopefully we'll have Betsy back.
Although you can Zoom from anywhere in the world.
I don't think I'm gonna want to do that.
What do you mean?
Hey, Jody, I have a question too.
Sure.
So am I the last person on the board that's here as just a professional? Everyone else is like property owners, or isn't there supposed to be sort of a balance of property owners versus residents versus professional people?
Yes.
So we need to probably really look for another professional to join the team.
Right.
Yeah, so technically it's supposed to be a third, and a third. Third owners, third residents, and third special qualifications. I will tell you that most of the advisory boards don't achieve the third for special qualifications.
What are the other options for special qualifications besides architect?
Architectural historian, archaeologist, historian, something in those categories. Planner, I think, can be.
So it
special
can be like a
qualification.
contractor that's done lots of historic preservation work.
No, it could be a
I think
contractor.
it can be, yeah.
It's the knowledge really that we're looking for.
Right.
I tell you, I did I did bump a historian and say no, that's not special qualifications, mainly because his background in history was not Tucson. It was like nice guy, but it was like Chinese environmental law. And so while he's a nice gentleman, that doesn't really give him special qualifications to speak to the history of Tucson
Right.
and the structures here. So, but you get the drift. If it's something
Yeah.
where they have particular knowledge, it's definitely something we can consider.
Jody, I did check that box when I applied, arguing that my tenure at the city and the work I did on historic transportation facilities perhaps allowed me to have that title. But if you could ponder that, or if you want me to perhaps pitch that perspective to be able to fill that, not to say that I, in my heart of hearts, feel like I do qualify, but if we're just looking to have it done, I think I think it would be great to have someone who has really the true knowledge. But if we're just looking to try to balance things out from a bureaucratic standpoint, I wouldn't mind trying to make the case for you.
Well, sorry for the coughing. It's actually better than it was, but I would say that they haven't cracked down on it where they're pushing a
Okay.
third and a third, because they recognize that it is difficult to come by members to dedicate the time to participate in the advisory boards and all that stuff like that. So with that being said, we also were surprised when they did this recent crackdown. So
What about bringing people back that have previously, like, what's the time, like if I wanted to harass Marcellus into coming back on here, because he's a good asset.
It was just a year, wasn't it?
yeah, it's just a year. So they
So
just
he
have to
could
take a
potentially
year
come
rep.
back on.
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah,
then I
we
won't
could.
have someone that can present things for me, so. Okay,
I do agree. I mean, in general, we need a little bit more diversity outside of owners and residents on the board. We really do. We need the professional opinions.
Well, maybe Bill will come on. Mackie. Ask
Yeah,
him.
he just then would have to recuse or find somebody to present for him.
Yeah.
Um, special qualification people don't need to live in your neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rachel doesn't live in the neighborhood, and Darcy didn't live in the neighborhood. So, yeah.
alrighty.
All right. Well, any other future agenda item ideas that need to be pondered or brought to Jody's attention? With that,
We are,
If I may,
Yeah.
since we got everybody here and I was looking at the notes or the minutes from the last meeting. So Jody, I think I'm the one who dropped the ball on getting the guidelines updated. Do I push them to you, or what's my next step?
it's funny. I'm pretty sure I dropped the ball. I won't let you take
Oh, okay,
fault.
I'll blame you. All right, that's fine.
It's okay. It's funny because we were just talking about that internally about the process, because Fort Lowell is also talking about updating their design guidelines. And so there has been a lack of clarity. I know before you kind of went through a particular process, but it's not really laid out in the UDC. So we were actually talking with the city attorney's office on how to do that. So we're at this moment literally getting clarity on what that entails.
So I
Is
guess,
it-
yeah, maybe if you could come back at the next meeting and help us with that a little bit. I feel like, we put a lot of effort and we got it to a point where I think I mean, there may be a couple of tweaks we'd want to make to it, and, given what we've learned, like even Damon brought some stuff up today, but I kind of would like to get that thing.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
On that, I will put that as an agenda item for the next one to discuss.
Okay, yeah.
Very
If
good.
there's something we need to do, then sure. But yeah, we put a lot of time into it. I'd like to see it turn into something.
Most definitely. As a side note, I think I mentioned it before. We have been talking about putting together an agenda for training. And we were looking at doing particular things that I've noticed that the advisory boards kind of waffle about a little bit. Maybe not you guys because you're stellar, but development zones, like, what a development zone would be for any given property. Talking about conflict of interest, because we've had a lot of conflict of interest issues that popped up with some other boards, advisory boards, and then just general items like that. But if you have thoughts, any of you, you're welcome to email me on like what you would like to see as part of the training. I don't really think that you need, last time when we did training, we had the SHPO come down and they talked about like how to designate and what the different things mean to designate, like A, B, and C criteria and stuff. But I don't know that you necessarily need that. We were thinking more in-house, but whatever. If you have thoughts on items that you would like to have training on, specifically as it relates to operating an advisory board, please feel free to email me.
Oh,
I have a quick question on that. Is there a way to like, from a standpoint of what's being presented, and then we have to look at what's being presented? Do you guys like provide a template for people that don't know what to do? Because like we get a wide range of presentations and they've
You do?
definitely gotten better. You do give them a template? Okay.
We give them not a template, but we tell them, this is the expectations that you're presenting, that you're, answering questions, here's your project. You want to go through all of these items. And you did get a wide variety. And it's kind of funny because PRS was like, oh, but the architects do so much better. And then we got some architects that, well, didn't do better. But because they are a wide range of people, we don't require that everybody have an architect. So it could be a homeowner, it could be, you know, just a contractor, and they're not always, they haven't done it before. So they're not always
Right.
doing it. And we do try to help. Like today, thank you, Jim, for sharing your screen since I wasn't able to, but we share the screen, you know, we try to help them move along. You know, I sometimes poke in with questions and say, hey, can you show this? Because I don't think that it's being presented to you, but it is a challenge.
Right. Well, yeah, because everyone doesn't have the same set of tools. I was just wondering, like, I know I myself now have like a template that I just drop everything into when I have a historic review thing. And I just didn't know if that was something that was maybe a tool that would be helpful for the more lay person that's trying to just present their project without having to get an architect or something. So
It is sometimes difficult even for them to submit via TDC online. So it,
fair enough.
yeah, it's something that we help along the way, but it is like pulling teeth to some. So
Yeah, no, I'm sure you've said that you need to have all these things and then they just don't. And so then you just give it to us and then we like, hey, we need all of these things. So, okay.
So Jody, at the Arizona State Historic Preservation Conference, Elena Urban, is that her, how you pronounce her name? Did indicate a willingness to come and provide some training. And I thought that she could provide training from the standpoint of kind of where, you know, of our role and what we look at when we're looking at making sure buildings are compliant with the historic district within which we're in, as opposed to once the district's formed. Do you think she would do that, or?
oh yeah,
No.
they'll come down.
Because
I mean,
that's,
if you guys
it
are
did-
interested.
well, it seemed like she was ready to spend some time on that, and that's kind of what I wanted to get out of the conference. And then she, you know, kind of skipped over it and then went on to, you know, the broader things that were probably more applicable to the other attendees. But
She she had an overly aggressive agenda.
yeah, yeah.
So it was difficult for her to get to all of that. But we did, the last time we had training, we had Eric Bondi, who's kind of her supervisor, I think, and who was in that position previously. So he came down and was talking about designation, you know, consistency with the Secretary of the Interior standards. The thing that's different is you guys look per your design guidelines, and your design guidelines are somewhat based on the Secretary of the Interior standards, but they're much more expansive than the standards. And so when she speaks, she's going to be speaking about consistency with the Secretary of the Interior standards.
Okay, so it's still going to be at a higher level, not down in the weeds where I kind of want to go. Okay.
Yeah, and we can, and that's definitely something that, you know, we can talk about. And, you know, if you have suggestions for it, I'm totally open to that. But I just wanted to put that out there, you know, as we are starting to kind of formulate our agenda for that. Feel free to email me your thoughts.
Yeah.
Nice thoughts.
Of course, will be nice.
All right.
I'll tell you, in the few meetings I've participated in already, I've learned a lot from the other board members who've been at this for years. So, and thank you for bearing with my slip ups. It's fascinating. So
You're great, Jim. Don't worry about it.
we'll go from there. All right. I think we can adjourn. Do I
Do I have to have a
Right.
motion?
need
You
to
don't
have
need
a?
to
Yes. you
sorry?
No, you don't. Your items are done.
do. Okay.
I thought if I
Second.
covered everything on the agenda, I don't need to have a formal motion. So,
Yeah, you don't need a form. They like to do a motion, but you don't actually.
okay.
Oh, good.
All
then
right,
let's-
everyone. We'll see you next month.
Right.
Sarah, have great travels. Be safe.
Goodbye.
Don't go somewhere scary.
I will be there next month and I won't be there March and
Oh, I'm
April.
sorry. Okay. Yeah.
All
Very
right.
good. Take care,
Good night,
everyone.
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night,
Everybody.
everybody.
Bye.